From stun guns to sex toys and even love and birth, the NFL is not so black and white. Sometimes it's the fans who end up in the middle of the chaos, and other times it's the players themselves. Today, we'll explore some of the weird and wild moments that have taken place in and around the NFL. A player literally snuck a stun gun into the game. So imagine this, it's the 10th anniversary of 9/11 and the New York Jets are playing the Dallas Cowboys at MetLife Stadium. And if that's not already a tense enough situation, a 59-year-old Cowboys fan named Leroy McKelvey decides to sneak a stun gun into the stadium. What could possibly go wrong, right? Well, as it turns out, things got pretty ugly when McKelvey refused to stand and remove his hat during the national anthem. This upset a U.S. Marine in attendance, and when a scuffle broke out at halftime, McKelvey allegedly used a stun gun on not just the Marine, but also 2 other fans. Thankfully, nobody was seriously hurt, although 3 people did get zapped with the stun gun, and McKelvey was quickly taken into custody by state police. Looks like you never know what kind of shenanigans might go down at a football game. And it's not always dangerous stuff, sometimes fans bring the most outrageous items to matches. Like the guy who brought a sex toy to a game and threw it on the field. It was Monday Night Football at New Era Field and the crowd was super hyped. Suddenly, out of nowhere, a dude chucks a sex toy onto the field. Yep, you heard that right, a freaking sex toy. Now, I don't know what this guy was thinking or why he thought throwing a sex toy into the field was a good idea, but needless to say, it didn't end well for him. He was quickly apprehended by deputies and Bill's security and taken into custody. After a night in the Erie County Holding Center, the culprit, a 34-year-old Michael Abdallah, appeared in a court on a disorderly conduct charge. He pleaded not guilty, but I mean, come on, the evidence was pretty clear. But wait, it's not always so bad. There was one jaw-dropping moment that was kind of adorable. Do you remember when a couple got engaged at halftime? Love was in the chilly Wisconsin air that day at Lambeau Field. While the Minnesota Vikings and the Green Bay Packers battled it out on the field, a couple of crazy kids decided to take the relationship to the next level. Chad Snyder, a Vikings fan from Iowa, had a surprise up his sleeve for his girlfriend, Gina Hilco, a die-hard Packers fan from Wisconsin. At halftime, Snyder popped the big question in front of a stadium full of cheering fans. But there's the twist. It turns out that Snyder and Hilco live in Gainesville, Florida. That's right, they traveled all the way from the Sunshine State to watch their respective teams play in the freezing cold of Wisconsin. And to top it off, the game ended in a tie. But hey, who cares about the score when you're engaged to the love of your life, right? Congratulations to the happy couple, and may their love continue to defy team loyalties and geographical boundaries. But while their story was adorable, this next display of love by a couple was downright disgusting. I mean, they were caught having a little too much fun in the middle of a game. Despite the rain pouring down, a recent Texans-Titans game was an exciting event for many fans. However, some fans got a little too creative with their ponchos, using them for more than just staying dry. In fact, a video recently surfaced of 2 individuals using their ponchos for some steamy sexual activity. While it may have been a unique way to celebrate a big win against the Titans, some fans may have been taken aback by the couple's unconventional use of their rain gear. But it's not just the fans who find themselves in the middle of the most chaotic situations, players too end up in the middle of the drama sometimes. Like the time a player's wife was having babies during the Super Bowl. Van Jefferson was playing in the Super Bowl 56 and his wife Samaria was about to give birth to their second baby. They had plans in case Samaria went into labor during the game, which involved not telling Van until the game was over. However, their baby ended up being born on the same day as the Super Bowl, even though he was due 4 days later. Samaria had a feeling it might happen, and it turned out she was right. Before the game, Van and Samaria talked about the possibility of their baby being born on the same day. Samaria didn't want to distract Van during the game, so she told everyone not to inform him if she went into labor. After the game ended and the Rams won, Van was told by someone that his wife was in labor and they rushed to the birthing center. Unfortunately, they got stuck in traffic, but Van was able to witness the birth of his baby over FaceTime. He describes the moment as incredible and says it was even more special because it happened right after his team won the Super Bowl. Do you know what else would be incredible? If you subscribe to this channel, you'll get the best NFL content like the story of how Trent Brown almost died before a game. Trent, a New England Patriots offensive tackle, recently shared a scary story about an incident that almost made him consider retiring from football altogether. It happened when he was still playing for the Las Vegas Raiders during the 2020 season. Before a game against the Cleveland Browns, Brown had an IV mishap that caused air to enter his bloodstream. He immediately felt something was wrong and had to be rushed to the hospital. Brown said that he felt that he was going to die and almost went into cardiac arrest. Can you imagine how scary that must have been? He spent a few days in the hospital in Cleveland by himself, which must have been very lonely and nerve-wracking. While he was there, he thought about his children and even contemplated retiring from football because of the traumatic experience. Fortunately, Brown recovered from the incident and is now back to playing. Like Brown, there's also others who have experienced some lows, such as the Colts' Darius Leonard, who had to face racism. Can you believe that Indianapolis Colts All-Pro linebacker Darius Leonard was falsely accused of abusive behavior by a white patron and a white manager at a Chipotle restaurant in Florence, South Carolina? Leonard took to Instagram to vent his frustration about the incident, which occurred when he and 4 others were reportedly told to leave or the police would be summoned. Leonard, who is from Lakeview, South Carolina, maintained that his lunch party of 3 other black guys and a mixed woman did nothing wrong and suggested that the treatment was linked to the ongoing social outcry about racism that has prompted worldwide protests. Apparently, the group's discussion of the Black Lives Matter movement prompted the white customer to make the complaint. In response to the incident, Chipotle suspended the manager while they investigate the matter. Let's hope this is a wake-up call for people to stop making baseless accusations and treat everyone with respect, regardless of their skin color. But not all players are so civil. For instance, Quentin did jump into the stands just to beat up a fan. It was intense, to say the least. One of the Seahawks players, Quentin Jefferson, got so heated after being ejected from a game from fighting on the field that he tried to jump into the stands to fight the fans. Can you imagine that? This 21-stone defensive tackle was so angry that he almost climbed the wall, which is usually reserved for players celebrating with fans, but the situation got even uglier when one of the Jaguar fans threw a bottle at him, and he lost it. He kept getting angrier and had to be restrained by security. And rightly so. I mean, who likes to be disrespected like that? In his own words, "I'm not gonna let somebody disrespect me, throw beer on me. Just because I'm playing football, I'm still a human being. I'm still a man." When asked if he regrets trying to jump into the stands, he replied with a cheeky, "I don't know, was it the right call for him to throw a beer on me?" Wow, talk about a wild ending to a football game. And sometimes it's the players themselves who end up at each other's throats, like the time Wims decided to sucker punch Johnson. During a 2020 game between the Chicago Bears and the New Orleans Saints, Bears wide receiver Javon Wims sparked a fight with Saints defensive back Gardner Johnson. Wims approached him after a play, tapped him on the shoulder, then punched him in the helmet twice. Yep, you heard that right. He punched him twice. Jenkins, a teammate of Gardner Johnson, intervened and tackled Wims to the ground. Wims later claimed that Gardner Johnson had spit on him and removed his mouthpiece, which led to his aggressive response. However, video evidence did not support Wims' claims, and he was subsequently suspended for 2 games by the NFL. And this isn't even an isolated event. Quarterback Ben Roethlisberger also had a memorable moment with Antonio Brown. In 2018, the Pittsburgh Steelers had a heated exchange between the quarterback and wide receiver Antonio Brown during a film session. Brown became super upset when Roethlisberger criticized him for running the wrong route, and the argument became so intense that Brown threw a ball at Roethlisberger. Geez, these guys really need to calm down. If these were crazy for you, let me tell you about NFL players who face death. Click right here to see it all.